For you last night during the Xfinity Series race, what'd you think about it? And have you ever been involved in any of those sort of altercations at Martinsville?
No, I have not. And last night I was laying on the couch in the motorhome in my pajamas with Alex. Abby and Janice were already asleep, and we watched it. And I was just surprised that he started with a haymaker. Usually it's a jab, then the haymaker. So, but yeah, it's Martinsville, right? People get their feelings hurt. We run into each other, move people out of the way, and it happens. We see it time and time again when we show up here. I was most impressed by the fact that Larry said he was here in 1980. That is impressive, bud. That was 4 years before I was born, and I have gray hair.
Really? Really? Is that where we've come?
All right, nice talking to you, Aric. You have a great night. No, I'm just kidding. Listen, last year when we were there, you were the top finishing Stewart-Haas Racing driver, finished sixth. But we keep hearing just about how different everything is out there this weekend. How does it feel inside that race car?
Honestly, there's some still, some similar tendencies to Martinsville. We unloaded, and I felt like my car drove really good, and it was doing the typical Martinsville things right. It was rolling the middle of the corner. It was driving up off the exit of the corners with good rear drive. So it's still Martinsville. No matter what car. I've raced here in a late model stock, and I've raced here in a truck. I've raced here in a cup car, and now this next-gen car, and it's still Martinsville. You still have to roll the middle of the corner, and you still have to launch up off the corners. So that will never change, but we are a lot busier. Downshifting in the corners, upshifting on the straightaways. There's a lot more going on for us inside the cockpit than we used to.
So, Aric, I go back to last year. You were the only Stewart-Haas Racing driver to found Victory Lane there at New Hampshire back last summer. And then we roll into this year. We've got the next-gen car. You've got a new crew chief with Drew Blickensderfer, and you clicked off 3 consecutive top 10 finishes. You're still running good, solid runs right now, but where do you see, the 10 car, where do you see Stewart-Haas Racing right now?
We've had a car capable of winning every single race. I mean, really, when you go back and look at every single race, we were in the thick of it at the end at the Daytona 500. California, we had good cars. We ran up front. Chase led some laps, and we all ran up front. You go to Phoenix, Briscoe won. Vegas, we had good cars. We ran up front. So we've had cars running up front. Last week at Richmond, Harvick had a great car and challenged for the win. So we've had at least a car in the organization running up front at each racetrack that we've been to. We just continue to build a notebook. And, there's a steep learning curve with this new car. We're going to racetracks for the first time with this car and with no notebook. And it's kind of a guessing game, really. So I feel like we're off to a good start, to be honest, and I feel like we're learning some things. We're starting to make some more sense of things with our simulation program and with the simulator at Ford Performance. And we came here as a perfect example after learning some stuff on what we did wrong and what the 4-car had that we thought was better than us at Richmond. And we went to the simulator and had a good session there, and we implemented a lot of that stuff, and we unloaded here with a really, really fast Smithfield Ford Mustang. So I feel like we're going in the right direction, and we are off to a good start with the 10 team. Drew's been doing a great job. We started off the season great, and we've even run good at the races where we haven't finished good. At Atlanta, we were battling for the lead and running up in the first couple spots before we got spun out. And, even at Richmond, we had an okay car. I thought we had a top 10 car, and we gambled a little bit on strategy, which was, it didn't work out in our favor. But had we had caught a caution at any point in those stages where we were running long, we would have had an extra set of tires and been in the top 10. So, we're still doing all the small things and the details right, and we're in good shape.
So, Aric, you brought up simulation, and I think it's important for people to realize, and you said this, that it's not necessarily the simulation heading into a weekend, but it's maybe a post-simulation, like after Martinsville, the changes you make on the car, do those correlate with what the simulator says? One of the things that we just talked to Chase Elliott about was shifting. Is shifting something that you guys have practiced in the simulator, and have you seen the way it reacts to be the same as what you saw on the track yesterday?
Yeah, there's still a learning curve with that as well. I mean, that's even new for, the engine, team is trying to implement that into the simulation and what that looks like. There's still a lot of learning. I keep saying that over and over, but there's just so much to learn with this new car. And for me personally, as a driver, you know, my old habits, I have to shed those at a lot of these places, and I have to learn, you know, what this new car wants. And the setups, you know, Drew and our engineering team are still learning all those things as well. But yeah, simulation is so important right now. We're showing up to these racetracks, and you don't really get an opportunity to change a lot on the car. You can basically make pit stop, you know, adjustments. So you can't change springs, you can't change sway bars, and all the things that we used to be able to when you'd show up and you'd have a practice, then you'd go overnight, think about it, have 2 more practices on Saturday to get ready for the race. We used to be able to sling a lot of different setup changes at it and get it dialed in for the race. Now we have to show up and basically be at our best. So you rely really heavily on simulation and your time in the simulator to make sure that when you get there, you're at your best. And if you're not, you need to go back and look at why you weren't and try and post that in the simulator and make some changes to say, all right, if we were going to go back tomorrow, right, everybody's a Monday morning quarterback. So now with a simulator, you can go back and do that. You can go back and say, all right, if we were to go back tomorrow, we would do this, this, and this, and you go back and see if it is indeed better.
I'm excited to see how all of that translates to on-track performance with the Stewart-Haas group, of course, because just watching what you guys did last week with Kevin Harvick, you just mentioned kind of building on that. Now you're starting on the front row. Aric, thank you so much for your time.
All right, don't lose me this weekend. Hopefully we get it in tonight. It's freezing cold, but we got a red paint scheme tonight. It's the spiral ham, so hopefully everybody goes and buys a ham for Easter.
I love it. I love it.
And they watch Bristol.
There you go. Awesome. Thanks, Aric. Appreciate it.
All right.